We are live. Happy 4th of July, everyone. If you don't live in America or don't celebrate,
Too bad
happy
for
day.
you.
Happy day that you are alive.
Happy Saturday. Look at that.
Happy Saturday.
Look
You
at
are
that.
breathing. So that's something. Captain America from Marvel,
Yep.
Superman from DC. There you go.
Oh, God. There we go. Okay, sorry.
We're discussing some newspaper strips and some Marvel comics. So we're going to be really quick about the newspaper strips, though.
Yeah,
some not so good LA Times newspaper strips. So we're going to cover those really fast. The first one is The Night Beast. It's kind of a bore. It has some interesting lore that ties into Kevin J. Anderson later. There's this basically monster that wakes up.
Monster.
Yeah, it wakes up out of its stasis, out of its sleep, when one of the TIE fighters that's attacking Yavin crashes and knocks down one of the towers. Everybody is alerted to the creature, like going through the Masasi Temple base. It's like in the middle of a party, in the middle of a celebration after the rebels had a victory, like taking down the TIE fighters. And Luke and Han are basically chasing this thing through the tunnels. Luke finds out that blasters don't work on it. There's a light. He tries to use his lightsaber on it. The lightsaber gets him really startled. And they look into the history and they find out, well, he's basically that this monster is the guardian of the race that created the Masasi temples, and the ships, the species that created the Masasi temples basically left in a bunch of ships and left this monster as a guardian. And they basically show on a holo projector, they lure the monster into this room. They show him the holo projector, and he recognizes his own people, and they lead him into a transport, like a waiting ship that takes off automatically, like on autopilot, and the Night Beast is chased away, and they don't have to deal with it. There's not much there. It's really takes up a lot of pages and doesn't have a lot happening other than a big chase through the temple. What did you guys think of this one?
It happened. It was fine. This wasn't the worst. It's not the worst Star Wars story I've ever read, but it's almost completely forgettable. The only reason I remember anything about it is because of the Tales of the Jedi issue years later.
It is always nice to spend a bit of time on Yavin, but apart from that, it was, I don't have too much to say about it. There's the Masasi ruins and the Tales of the Jedi connection, as Al said.
Here's what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. And then here is what the other one. Here's what it looks like. That's what it looks like in the newspaper, kind of. Here's what it looks like in Kevin J. Anderson's Tales of the Jedi.
That's what I was looking for, but you got it for me. So
it's a different color, right?
It's not even the same thing.
It looks completely different. It's got like thingies on the top of its head. It's got like a mustache.
Red.
It's red. It doesn't look anything like it.
The only thing, I mean, because Kevin J. Anderson, and I always say, is an absolute team player, and people give him a lot of flack. And I will say he's not the best writer the EU has, for sure. He writes YA for adult novels, and I've always had problems with that. But unlike some people in those early EU days, Zahn, he really wanted to include everything. So when he helps write Tales of the Jedi, he goes, hey, I used to read these comics back in the day, so wouldn't it be cool if I made some random background character be that thing that didn't really have an explanation in those comics? So he makes a connection to make it be, something that's like, it makes this comic that is basically kind of worthless. Like, wow, that's something where I can read this now and be like, I didn't completely waste my time because it's now referencing that. But my issue, as we've all kind of said, is it doesn't even look the same. So you might as well not even have made the connection.
It's really cool that he went to the lengths to include this thing from this issue, published not 20 years, but good bit of time before.
Yeah.
And given that this came out, that Tales of the Jedi issue came out like 95, 96, something like that.
And these newspaper strips took place They came out March 8th through May 16th, 1982. So
did they
12
have,
years.
Did they have the newspaper strips yet, like in print or like reprinted through classic Star Wars yet?
I think these
well,
were reprinted because I remember they're on the cover of the early adventures, the big Swamp Thing monster.
So this is so 93 is when the first half was printed, and then 94. So yeah, they probably should. So okay, it's a little bit less forgivable then, but it's still like it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's a really cute.
It went from red to green.
It's a minor point. And it is much cooler to just see the thing be referenced in a very blink and you'll miss it sort of way. Like if you didn't know, you would never guess.
They don't like, hey, this thing. They don't even mention it. It's just in the background behind Exar Kun in like one panel. So
but like Scott said, what?
Yeah.
Any further thoughts, Robert, before we move on to the next one?
Not really. I think we've covered it all, except I do think it's a bit weird that R2 was able to interface with this ancient technology so easily.
Yeah. He's the MacGuffin of trying to figure it out. It seemed kind of like a Star Trek episode a little bit, trying to find the ancient history and the lore.
It's like a lot of early Star Wars before we had this like sort of congruent continuity was a lot of kind of Star Trek-y Star Wars.
But I agree with you guys. Like the biggest point here is the lore behind the Massassi Temple, which I guess is kind of cool. But even if it looked like the same monster, even if it was red, I don't think it would be that big a deal. It's very skippable in terms of a story.
It's trivia, and that's not.
It's a what do the kids say? The glub shido.
Yeah, even though
this is
a good one.
Yeah,
this is a great actual glub shido. If this guy showed up in episode 10 and he was like, "Hey guys, I'm from the Massassi Temple," you know what I would say? I'm still not watching episode 10.
Anyway, moving on.
So it turns a Massassi into a leopard print frogman. Me neither. Need another story to explain that one.
Moving on
now to the next one.
One more thing. I do like the fact that the Massassi ruins have these hidden passages within them that the rebels don't know about.
I do too. I think it's pretty neat.
I think you play those in like Jedi Academy video game, the Dark Forces 4 or whatever it was. Anyway, moving on to the next one, The Return of Ben Kenobi. This is also by Archie Goodwin. Came out May 17th through July 25th, 1982. And it starts out by Luke recognizing... Oh, Maxine, how you doing?
Crazy.
Luke recognizing Force premonition of Obi-Wan. It seems like Obi-Wan has returned, and like Luke can sense him on this planet Aridus, and there's a local rebellion going on, and the leader of this group of rebels is a Jedi, seemingly a guy in robes who's Obi-Wan Kenobi, making himself out to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's really an actor recruited by Darth Vader. He underwent plastic surgery, and I think it says he had some like very limited Jedi training by Vader. He's not really Force sensitive, but he has some like technological gimmicks to make himself out to be a Jedi. And it's all a trap set up by Darth Vader to find Luke Skywalker. There's this communication tower at the end. Luke ends up going to the planet, meeting up with him, and he's convinced. He thinks it is Obi-Wan Kenobi somehow survived the Death Star. And at the very end, the character dies. He kind of figures it out. But instead of the actor turning Luke over to Vader, he actually destroys the communication tower, goes against Vader, and foils Vader's plan trying to capture Luke. So more or less that was it. I didn't really have strong feelings about this one either. I think it's better than the Night Beast, but it still wasn't that great. I knew this obviously wasn't Obi-Wan from the start, so I kind of had the ending ruined. I can't imagine anyone really thinking this was Obi-Wan, even in the 1980s. So what do you guys think?
It's okay. It's not. This is another one where it's not bad necessarily, but it's not that interesting. There's not. I think this is like a trope. Somebody comes back and they do this in Hand of Thrawn actually, where they think
do.
Thrawn is alive and it's not.
That one we know from the get-go.
Yes, and I do prefer that. I like how they handled that in that book, where it's like these guys are trying to pull a fast one on everyone, which I think is more entertaining. I don't think this is another one. This is another part of the newspaper strips that I've, I'm like, okay, and then I keep going. I don't, not a whole lot of interest here for me.
About the same. I do and I don't like that Hand of Thrawn does that, because it gets really frustrating when we know. So, like, from the get-go, if it had been halfway through, I think it would have been a bit better, because then we, like, know the whole way through, and then the characters don't, so it's really frustrating. But at the same time, this particular story is not... I literally read it like a week ago, and outside of the synopsis, I don't remember anything specific. So I think that's a sign that it just is not... I think you either got to be really bad or be really good, because at least I'll remember you if you suck really bad. But if you're just fine,
I agree with that.
Yeah, as Kreia says in KOTOR 2, apathy is death.
Yeah, I feel like this is a trope, a reoccurring plot that's happened a million times, especially stories around this era that we're covering, be it LA Times, Marvel. Vader's going after Luke, and I'm getting tired of it at this point. Yeah. It's kind of getting old. Robert, your thoughts?
So, not much to say about this one, although I like the fact that this actor, who, his job is to hand Luke over to Vader, basically, but he's pretending to be Obi-Wan, and the way that he views this changes. He goes from viewing it strictly as a performance, what would this character do, to what would this person do, and he, the way that Luke sees him and the way that everyone else sees him, that has an effect on him, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just one other continuity point. Wikipedia doesn't reference where they got this, but Jix, who's one of the swoop pilots from Shadows of the Empire, it's later retconned that Jix is actually responsible, because Vader, when the tower gets destroyed, he gets kind of knocked unconscious and left for dead. But some lore that's not referenced by Wikipedia, but it says on here, Vader's rescued by Jix, which I think is interesting. Probably the only point of connection that ties to anything else in the expanded universe here.
Almost certainly.
Also, if you hear any pop, pop, pop outside, it's most likely fireworks. Though it could also be actual gunshots. So we won't know. But yeah.
It's the 4th of July.
It is the 4th of July. People love fireworks.
Yeah.
Everybody be careful out there.
Moving on, we'll now be covering Star Wars Marvel 1977, issue 60, which kicks off the Shira Bree arc. So, while I open to the right page, the Rebels have captured in previous adventures 4 TIE fighters, which, well, I think they actually purchased them. But the idea is to infiltrate Admiral Gell's fleet, and there's this entity that the Armada is using, and I guess they're bringing to Coruscant. It's not really clear, but there's this entity. It's not sentient, but it's alive. It's called the Teasel, and it's meant to increased communication capabilities between Imperial forces, like throughout the galaxy, increased coordination efforts, and Vader says it'll increase the speed of communications 1,000-fold at one point, which is kind of weird because I always thought it was pretty much instantaneous. But we get to Shira Bree's backstory in this first issue 60, and they go to her home planet, which I'm not.
You can see this, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Good.
What do you guys think of the cover here?
Oh, it's a great cover. This is one of my. I think all except for maybe the last one. I'm trying to remember what that one is. All of these are some of my favorite covers from the Marvel era.
I just wanted to say, as to the last newspaper strip, I didn't know this. Just a good point. The Ghostfish says the Chubbits planet the fake Obi-Wan was from is one of the 2 planets U-Train Tricata worked on. I don't remember who that person is, but they make the tanks that Rebels use in the RTS games.
Okay, so 2 expanded universe references.
So there's a little bit, but not.
Yeah, I'm not a big RTS player, so I wouldn't know.
It's been a long time since I played Empire at War.
The script for issue 60 was by David Michelini, pencilers by Walter Simonson. And it starts with an attack on an Imperial base. They're trying to get information related to where Admiral Giles' armada is. And this kind of isolated Imperial outpost is where it is. So the rebels, there's a group of 4 pilots here, and they're actually all named. So it's Luke, Shira, Wald, and Thorbin, I think it is. There's one guy with glasses. I think it's Wald, which he's drawn on the cover, but he's wearing just regular spectacle glasses, which I thought was funny. But they
something you see very often in Star Wars. Almost
no,
never.
but
not never. We do get that with Noah Brickwell in the Ewok, the second Ewok film.
With Noah, yeah, and a couple of the comics around this era, they have people with eyeglasses. But the Rebel squad here, the Rebel squadron, they use TIE fighters to attack the base. It's kind of funny, as the Imperials were flying out of the blown away debris, they think, oh, Vader's out to get them, like they did something wrong. There's some communications that is not allowed or something, and they think, oh, well, Vader's here to kill us, but he wouldn't send TIE fighters to do it. And as soon as the Imperials surrender, they just raise their hands, and then the rebels land their ships. They keep their hands in the air the whole time, and then a group of just 4 rebels just take them at gunpoint and evacuate them in a transport, which I thought is weird. Can't, like, when the rebels land, they just grab their guns and start shooting. It's kind of stupid.
So I like this opening page. It's the fact that
not that Wald.
Yeah,
sorry,
not that one. But
I wish that would be funny.
It would be, having the ties, in a line like that, that's one thing. But the fact that they're all, at different angles, that does something. It helps you sort of visualize the movement, them flying at the reader, at the tower. If you, get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
If you advance,
Spindrift.
Spindrift is the planet. Yeah, I was trying to figure it out. If you advance a couple pages at the end of this little short intro section, there's a funny picture of Luke's face. There's Luke, Shira, and one of the other rebels there. One more page, I think. One more.
A special Luke
at the bottom. Did I miss it? It's right before the picture of the fleet. There it is. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like,
that's a good reaction image. I like that.
What is that? Oh man, Leia's face. I'm not sure which is worse, Luke's face or Leia's face.
I think I gotta give it to Luke. Look at that. That's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, that's a real scumbag look right there, Drew Skywalker. I don't like that thing Leia was doing neither though. I don't want no scowling over Luke. You gotta stay with Han. I'm sorry, that's not even shipping. That's just decency right there.
Yeah, and then right
This
after.
page- so this page bugs me a bit because the tower gets hit. These two Imperials are talking, and the tower gets hit. They get blown to. They're flying through the air, and they're still just having a conversation.
That is a little funny. They're still
They should be-
talking while they're being thrown in different directions,
And then that happens again.
and they still talk.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is one of those guys, but we know that these two are the same people as in this panel, and so they should be incredibly dead by now.
Yeah,
There's
And
a
then-
lot of
most powerful
Then you've got
Imperials of
them
all time.
just running outside completely unharmed.
That's
and-
actually I never even realized that. That's crazy.
it's got to be Vader, right? They're saying, "Oh yeah, Vader," and it's slapstick humor that they're trying to incorporate here. In fact, when the rebels land, he's like, "Phew, it's not Vader. What a relief!" Like,
Here's my fan theory. They're droids, or they're cyborgs. Hence
Yeah.
why they survived.
They're Imperials that are not in any way really loyal to the cause. They're just in it for a paycheck.
Maybe they're like super locals. They're just like they can't be because of later revelations. But maybe they're from like the same system. They're just like they're from planet.
I think the more
spin drift, that one's drift out.
Survived an explosion, like it was nothing.
Apparently, they remembered to wear their explosion-proof vests.
Maybe.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's all it takes.
Anyway, on this issue is fun because we finally get Shia Bree's backstory.
Yes,
Mhm.
We've seen her a few times before now.
We've seen her be a thorn in Leia's side because even though Leia told Han at the end of Empire Strikes Back, "I love you," she's still like, I gotta have some insurance here. And Shia Bree, she's giving Luke a lot of looks, like right there,
Yes.
like that's a look right there. Look at that.
And Luke's taking the bait.
Luke's taking the bait.
In fact, to your point,
Like an anglerfish.
Al, the very next scene after they get back to the base, Leia kind of scowls at Luke, and she goes back to her quarters, and she pulls out a hologram of Han Solo.
Yep.
And she says, "Oh, Han, if only you were here, like you would understand what's going on. Like I do love you, but I kind of like Luke." She says so she's torn between her feelings there.
Crazy.
And I think at one point 3PO actually comes in. I'm not sure if it's in this particular issue, but 3PO comes in and says there's information on Han's whereabouts from spies that are tracking Boba Fett.
I like this this code phrase: "Flying Banthas never sleep."
Yep.
That's an
Let's take a look at that
Yeah.
that dialogue. I want to see specifically what it was.
Okay.
To the point where Leia's in her quarters. I think you have to scroll forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
maybe
maybe it's not this issue. Maybe it's not. I'm sorry.
Is it in the next one? Yeah. We'll put a pin in that.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about this in 50. One of my big problems with this series, and it's really bad here, although it is entertaining, so it kind of balances out, is Leia is not doing anything. She's just they're like, I don't care about Leia. She's gonna be over here pining, which is not interesting to me. I do not care. That does not feel in line with Leia that we see. And this, like, even though it is entertaining, this like back and forth where she's like of Shia Bree, I am not in favor of this.
It's
I understand
Luke
why
Skywalker centric. Yeah.
I understand why they did it. I don't like it, even still.
Yeah. I think it's necessary just because there's so much backstory that they have to cover with Shira Bree and Luke, who's like the central focus of the this arc, like all 4 issues. There's really no room for Leia just because they have to cover everything. There's really no slow points at any aspect of these 4 issues, which is what I like about it. I really think it's probably the most epic part of the 1977 Marvel series, at least so far. I know Shira Bree comes back at the end, but really establishing her as a villain, and the very epilogue at the end of 63 where it reveals she survives is like, holy cow, like there's some big revelations here we just haven't seen before in other issues.
Sure.
I'm gonna throw out, and now I'll put a pin in that. I'll put it there. There's another pin. We'll get to it here in a little bit.
Okay.
Drop that in that folder, save it for later.
It's at this point that Shira reveals that she has to have some downtime to go back to her home planet, and she's not granted that permission by Leia, but she ends up going anyway. And Luke volunteers. He says, well, since I have some time and I know the coordinates back to Araba, because the coordinates to Araba are top secret. And if Shira were to leave on her own, there'd be no way for her to return back to the rebels unauthorized. So Luke ends up going with her. And they go back.
Squiggly faced Luke.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of backstory on her home planet. Shira ends up lying to Luke and the rest of her squadron about what happened. She says there's this band of marauders, these raiders who attacked this human village on her planet. And now she goes to this, it kind of looks like Stonehenge, but it's this monument to her people at a certain point every year. So there you see it there. And
it looks a lot like Stonehenge.
Yeah. She takes a knife and like cuts her hand and like sheds her blood on the thing just because she says it's a monument to her people. But what she's really doing, we find out later, it's a blood transmission system where she contacts Vader. It's very weird. I've never seen this technology ever before in Star Wars, but
it's weird. It's very like it does. There's a part of me is like, that does seem like some stupid device the Sith would come up with. At the same time, like,
which don't cut your hand. That's a bad idea. You use your hand all the time.
No. Well, listen, Robert, she's not going to have to worry about that for too much longer. No. She's going to be in a very, very bad position with her hands very soon. So she doesn't know that, I do.
That is a good point, though, Al, that it's later revealed that she's trained in the ways of the dark side by Darth Vader. It could be some Sith ritual there that she's doing, something that would gain or increase her force power. But it's at this point on cue, the Raiders, the band of marauders, attack them, and they have to hide underground and hold them off.
She gives this elaborate backstory, which we find out in not the next issue, but the issue after that, I think. It's all made up.
There's the dude with glasses right there.
Yeah, there you go. He looks like somebody at the Marvel Comics office. He looks like Len Wein. Maybe not Len Wein, or like Marv Wolfman. He looks like a guy who's just working there at the time, which I would not be surprised to learn is true. If
what
she
do we think
through
of
this whole thing,
What do we think of these guys?
Ugly.
I don't like their language.
They look
like what's that video game? The Odd World?
They look almost like the things that the Phoenix wipes out in the Dark Phoenix saga, except those have more of like a broom head, where these guys have like a mop on the top. How do we feel about Shia's fake backstory, where she's the last survivor of this tribe, and then let's see.
It's the only believable aspect, I think, of her story, because this whole transmission system and the way Vader is three steps ahead of Luke at every single point and can think ahead of where he's going to go next is a little bit crazy. Like, we haven't covered it yet, but once Luke actually finds out Shira is working for Vader, he tries to retrace her steps, hoping to find clues, and he finds that transmission system and how Vader records a message like way in advance, anticipating Luke would actually come to that same spot. And he can kind of surmise what would happen in that event. Well, since you're here, we know you've been discredited by the rebels and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that is way too much.
Yeah, he's taken notes from Thrawn. It's like, okay, now you have to make wild assumptions based off of nothing and somehow get them right.
Based off art and coaching.
in terms of like the backstory, the lie about her planet, that's the only thing that's like, okay, that's believable. I can get behind that she would be hired by the rebels because the rest of her planet has been wiped out. She has no other credibility, no other references to go off of.
Yeah, I like her fake backstory. I like the visuals paired with it that we learn are also fake. I mean, maybe some parts of them are real, but like when she's talking about my loose-lipped companion, and they bring out fucking who was that? John Belushi, if he lived a little bit longer. Like that's fun. I like that. That's kind of interesting. Robert, show us John Belushi if he lived.
Something that just came to me. If this had been written like today, and instead of Leia pining and being mad about Luke, I think what would have been interesting is, considering this is a lie, the whole idea, because Leia, of course, would be really emotional about losing all of Alderaan, so she'd have some sort of kinship there with Shara Bree that could have made them really good friends up until she learns the full bullshit.
That would have been
right? Cool. But they don't use that.
No. Take it one step further. Okay. Shia Bree tries to get with her after Han. Be like, oh, Han's gone too. I'm from your home planet. Han's gone. Really just manipulate her. Then you have Luke be like,
tries to get with both Luke and Leia.
No. Just Leia. Like Luke is the jealous one, because that to me is more in line.
But then you'd miss all that fun stuff later on with her being the jealous egg.
Well, but that's at that point where
actually, considering later events, I mean, who's that hurting more, Leia or Luke? Considering, so anyway, I think you're onto something. If this is remade, I think this is how we rework it.
I think if they wanted to do it in the new canon, that's how they would do it, and I think I would be interested to see that. However,
I think it's a missed opportunity that there wasn't a bigger friendship. If we're keeping everything the same but just adding on to it, sure. I think there should have been a deep friendship between Leia and Shira Bree over the loss of their home planets, only to learn that it's BS.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
It's a reason for Luke and Leia to be especially pissed at her, because in a way she's betrayed both of them deeply, just in different ways.
The fact that Leia isn't given much to do in this series, how much do you think that's to do with Marvel writers from the 70s and 80s not knowing what to do with the female character?
I mean, they can figure it out if they want to. It's not.
People were making good female characters before the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, but I mean, they can find things for Mary Jane to do. They can find things for Invisible Woman to do. They can always. There's always something you could do. It just feels like they didn't want to. They didn't want to like come up with something better for Leia, which is a shame.
She's like in charge of the rebellion right now, but then show her at least tell them what to do.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Leia is a really weak spot of this series.
I do think so. But to be fair, I think most of the EU is underutilized her quite a bit. I mean, when we get to the Thrawn trilogy and onward, she'll do a lot of stuff with like Han, and there's a lot of like collaboration and like going through like a plan. But Leia on her own doing stuff happens few and far in between.
She has like
all of the EU
to herself, which is Razor's Edge, and it's not very good.
That's about it, and it's not even that good of a novel.
No, it's okay.
You know what this looks like to me? A Hujib facing away, wearing a hat.
I could see that.
Looks like a snowman with his head blown off or something. I don't, I don't know what that is.
It looks like a Hujib trying to eat a depth charge, like a World War II sea mine, and that sounds entertaining, but unfortunately, that's not what it is. Anyway, they get ambushed by these creatures, and they figure out a way to get rid of them, and the day is saved.
So Shira jumps. She actually finds like a tunnel. The tunnel's underneath where the advancing marauders are. Gets to her fighter, blows away a whole bunch of them with her fighter, then lands and saves Luke. And Wald is the guy with the glasses, according to Wikipedia, by the way.
Oh,
that's hilarious.
I remember what this moment made me think of. The these guys charging at them. Here, and then here, and it made me think of that scene from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
A little bit, yeah.
Where he's, It does take them a while to get there. But
yeah. So Shira's a big hero after this. In fact, at the beginning of the next issue 61, she's awarded a medal.
Yes.
Right.
By the rebels, by the whole congregation. I think she gets promoted to captain as well. But it's like she destroyed the Death Star, right? The equivalent of Luke and Han and Chewbacca kind of getting a medal from Princess Leia there, which I think is like overblown just a little bit.
So I have a theory. Let's move on to the next issue, by the way. Robert. Let's take a look at that big cover.
One moment. I like this panel with the Hujibs just sort of hanging out and sitting on people's shoulders.
Yeah, like that guy's trying to change a hot water heater or something. He's got a Hujib on his shoulder. This other guy's like delivering mail, delivering a package.
Obviously, the Hujib is walking him through the process. It's like, all right, you gotta take that off first. It's like, I know.
Well,
I didn't ask.
Telepathic, so yeah, this guy's probably helping him.
Little Hujib's like, okay, now you gotta turn it off first. You can't just take it apart without turning it off.
Right. Turn off the water, turn off the power first. Yeah.
I really like this page.
Oh, that's very pretty. I like the scale.
Yes.
What kind of Star Destroyer is that? That was subject of many a debate on the forums, on the message boards back in the day. Is that a Super Star Destroyer? What kind of classification is that?
What do you think it is, Scott?
I don't think anyone really had an answer. Like everybody kind of came up with their own explanation, but it seems significant, right? At this point, we know there are Executor class Super Star Destroyers. We know, but this is something like totally different. Maybe some sort of prototype. I don't know. It was just referred to as Admiral Giles' flagship.
And he's also wearing a medal, like a Earth medal.
He's got like an Illuminati medal or something.
Yeah, like what is that? Why is he? He's got two of them because he's got the little one. That's
because Han's got some medals too.
Die Ghostfish in the chat is saying it is officially a Praetor 2 battle cruiser.
Where'd you learn this from?
According to what source? Name your source, Die Ghostfish. I'm curious.
I don't disagree with you.
I have no idea.
Is this a later revelation? Because I'm talking about way back in the day, like before the Atlas and before the Guide to Warfare came out.
It's probably one of those Guide to Warfare, like the ships and whatever stuff. All that stuff I've never cared about, so I've never bothered to check.
That's
fun. Like a level of fandom nerdness that I've never like how the guns work, how the ships work. I just don't care.
When I have to learn how something in the universe works, my eyes start to glaze over. I don't.
Yeah. I don't care that much. I'm sorry. all the power people do. I'm not one.
We can move on to 61.
Yeah, let's talk about 61 because I got a theory right. That's a great cover too. All right, I got a theory right off the bat. So Scott, you're saying Death Star. I'm saying here. Listen, this is my theory. I think
Jim Shooter, father figure. In the previous one, he was Grand Moff.
I think that Luke organized this because he is trying to get this girl naked. That is my theory that I've been trying to say for like 3 minutes. My joke theory is like he wants to see this.
Leia would go along with this. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Listen, we know how
You're
annoying
tell Leia.
we know how annoying Luke can be. We all know that he can be very annoying. It doesn't give us a date. Maybe this is like a week later, and he has been pestering her nonstop to the point like, if I do this, will you shut up and go away?
Okay. Maybe I believe.
Be an idiot.
Look at all those rebel pilots. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
that looks like the entire rebellion. Like that's like 1,000 people easy, right?
Probably.
That's a lot of people for what was effectively like a neat maneuver. Like, would you say that is any more impressive than literally anything done by Rogue or Wraith Squadron in their respective books? Anything they accomplished.
No. That's true. That's true. And they're an elite unit, so I'm not sure they would want recognition.
True.
But sure, Bree, like this is the beginnings. I know we don't have Rogue Squadron yet. We had Rogue Group in the Battle of Hoth. So sure, Bree, a Rogue Squadron pilot. I don't know the lore on that. I guess technically she might be, but yeah, it's still a little bit weird. But after this medal ceremony, Sure Bree's promoted to captain. We see Lando here for the first time in a while. Lando's like full on part of the rebellion here. And Leia retires to her quarters, pulls out the hologram of Han, like I mentioned earlier.
That's the most. Sorry to interrupt. That's the most Carrie Fisher I think I've seen in any of these Marvel issues yet.
That's true. Yeah. That's a very good rendering of Leia there. If you scroll forward just 2 pages, we'll get to see Leia when she pulls out the hologram of Han.
Yes.
And it's at that point 3PO comes in and has information on Han Solo, which everybody has forgot about this whole time. Like they should be tracking down Han. Like forget promoting Shira Bree and like all this nonsense of her home planet. Like I think they get off the like main target here. They get like going all different directions, and I'm not sure how long this whole story arc takes place in the period of time. But if I had a big disagreement or a big criticism about this story, it's the fact that they get blown off course so much from trying to recover Han Solo.
It's not even an afterthought at a certain point. It's like fourth biggest concern. When they're
to be fair to them, their hands are a bit tied here. They can't do anything that's going to
obviously it's not their fault
too much because
it's not. Yeah,
it's not
Marvel's fault.
They send these 2 like unnamed spies after Han. I'm like, come on, you guys could do a little bit better here.
See, this is where having Wedge would have made like a huge difference.
And Wedge is here, like theoretically, he's in that huge crowd, but
they don't make him a big deal at all. That's the problem. Is like
fair.
This.
I mean, what did he have a name? He had a name in the movies.
He had a name in the first
episode 5 though, or was it episode 6 where he gets like name dropped?
He gets named in the first movie.
Does he?
Yeah, he says thanks Wedge or something.
Well, fair enough. Yeah. Well, it wasn't until Stackpole that he even became like a character that people loved.
I understand that, but like that's when if I'm looking at this cast and I'm like, oh my god, a named character.
They name all these other members of Luke's flight squadron, Wald and Thorbin, and there's one other guy, Glimmer or Gemmer, Gemmer. Wikipedia shows him as one of the guys on the Hoth base where Leia's kind of explaining the evacuation of.
Fair enough. But
anyway, next we see the this is kind of funny. Admiral Guile catches this guy with a hat, makes him run around the ship 10 times. I always thought that was funny. That's one of the the funnier parts of this. But you get to see like the Imperials aren't really competent in anything, and it makes a lot of sense because when Luke and Shira go on the mission to use the TIE fighters to sort of infiltrate the fleet and destroy, here we see Teasel for the first time, this sentient being, which is just a blue orb, essentially. This is the whole thing that's supposed to increase the communications between the Rebel fleet and that. But when the
I wish
Luke
we knew more about the Teasel, because we aren't really told anything.
I kind of wish we knew less. That is a very suggestive design.
Oh, I see it now.
Oh my goodness!
It's really just an excuse that Admiral Giles' ships or his fleet needs to be taken out and destroyed.
It's one of the innumerable not even a super weapon, but like a super piece of technology the Imperials have.
Yeah, what it does exactly,
I don't remember either.
It's a little bit debatable whether it's really that significant to increase your communications capability.
So the Rebels kill this thing, and it's the only known member of its species.
Right. Robert, do you remember Maxine? This is mentioned in Supernatural Encounters. I don't
remember either. I remember the Night Beast is mentioned, and like they figure out a way to fix the Night Beast design. But that's about it. And that's because we talked about that for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're just about to go on their mission. So I think it's 4 pilots. So it's Luke, Shira, Wald, and who's the other one? Thorbin. Yes. Thorbin actually survives. I think Wald gets killed on this mission, RIP. We don't really see him. He kind of gets killed off screen because they send 4 TIE fighters out there. So they modify the TIE lasers to have, like, I think it's 4 or 5 short bursts, and then one
a big one.
One big burst. And that big final laser burst empties like all the energy in the TIE fighter, hopefully enough to destroy Admiral Giles' flagship, or at least disable it and kill the Teasel super weapon thing. So that's what ends up happening. I think there's a moment, a tender moment between Luke and Shira there. In case one of us doesn't come back, I'm going to kiss you now, Luke. And then they go on their mission.
And Luke is full eyes open, in shock.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't believe a woman is kissing me, let alone talking to me. This is some kind of miracle. Little does he know. Little does he know.
In the context of her being an Imperial spy, I don't think this gets her anything. I think this was probably just for her.
Maybe.
Couldn't she just, if she was really out to kill him, couldn't she just like stab him in the neck at this point and then get away in an escape?
But that's like a logical conclusion. Why wouldn't you turn it into some Rube Goldberg trap where it's like, oh, you finally got him after?
I mean, I think part of this has to be that she does have some sort of genuine interest.
Okay, well, that is the thing I want to discuss.
I may be reading too much into it.
Well, I think we need to take a little sidebar and come to maybe not an agreement, but at least like air out our feelings. Does she actually like him? And I would like the chat to tell us too.
I don't think she started at the beginning. I think it's that classic trope, which maybe if this was a comic in like the 90s, early 2000s would have actually been expounded upon, which is you often see this in a lot of media, whether it be superheroes or other things, where a traitor will be involved in like a group setting, whatever it is, could be a heist movie or whatever. They spend enough quality time with the person and they generally start to like them, but they still have this duty to whatever, they have to go betray the group. But they genuinely feel sorry they got to betray this one person because they've generally grown to actually care about them.
And usually at the end of the story, they still do it, but maybe at the end they come back and like, oh, I'm gonna undo. Where there's like a misunderstanding where they find out like, oh, you're gonna betray me. No, I really came to care for you. But the great thing about this story is that she gets blown to bits before that even we start wasting our time. That's the best part.
I think she's using the situation like to further her own ends. She may like Luke, she may have feelings for Luke, but it's a selfish kind of love. I don't think it's a genuine affection. She figures
Sure.
like while she's on her mission trying to take this target out, well, if I have a little fun along the way, that's not so bad. That's basically my interpretation.
I've
think
not
she
read
does.
the 80s Teen Titans, but I have watched
I
the
have.
2000
Oh,
show.
oh,
and I
oh.
agree with this.
Hey, Alex, I'm gonna. You're gonna get it because I have read all those. And you want to know something? Those were the good ones. The ones after immediately following those, terrible. But yeah, no, Tara was in a very similar position where she was like, I don't want to say
Tara's way more sympathetic than Shira.
No, she's not. That's the exact opposite.
So? Oh, maybe in the 80s comics. I meant the 2000s.
No, I don't. Yeah, the cartoon, you know. In the comics, she is very unrepentant about like betraying the team. And she's, I don't like using this term, but there's not really a better way to put it. She's leading Beast Boy on, or Changeling at that point. Mm-hmm. And she intends to have them all killed. There's a lot of
fair enough
things going on in those comics, so that's a whole digression. Anyway, I agree with
Maxine agrees with me. She says I think it started just an assignment as Emperor's Hand, and she gradually came to fall for him. And so he shoots her down.
That is it is kind of similar to Mara Jade, except Mara Jade didn't get blown up.
There's a lot of similarities between Sherbri and Mara Jade.
As
we go further and we find out her backstory, like more and more, I'm just thinking maybe Timothy Zahn just took a page or two out of here and reformatted it.
Luke seems to have two types: redheads and Imperials.
Ooh, yeah, and when you can put them together, baby,
yes,
is he going to make some bad decisions? I think I mostly agree with Scott. I think it's especially.
Oh, I know about that. No. I know about this. No.
They I don't think that at any point Shia really cared for Luke. I think this number one is another means to manipulate him. Number two, she's like comfortable now. She's having fun. She's leading these people on. She's leading them down the primrose path, I think is the is that the term? Is that the
has them eating out of the palm of
her hand? Yeah. She's like she's doing a little jazz here. She's playing a little solo. She's like, I'm gonna just see where this takes us. I do not think she expected to get blown to bits.
No.
So
no.
I think this was another building block to getting him to do whatever she was gonna have him do. But that got derailed. So.
Yeah. I don't know if I take as pessimistic as approach to her thing, but I guess we'll just agree to disagree on that. I definitely don't think she's pure-hearted about it. I do think there's a part of her that is like, I think there was a time in her life where she wasn't the Emperor's Hand, and Luke, much like Superman for DC, is this pure-heartedness that even to her she can feel. And it reminds her of the time before. And I may be reading too much into it. I fully admit that. But I think there's something there to where she like. I'm also taking later accounts of her. I see too much anger for it to be simply, oh, I got blown up from you.
See,
it feels like there's a lot more to it.
Maybe.
So
I'm just putting these. This is the only thing that I'm.
Fair enough. If it's just this, maybe she's just this evil thing because they don't really try too much nuance in these Marvel comics.
Yeah, they don't really tell us. They don't give us a lot of reason.
I would like to think, just in terms of drama and story plotting, that there is some, even if it's the basis, genuineness in it. I don't think that she even herself is conscious of the fact that she likes him. I just think it's a part of her that likes the. Not innocence, because he's not innocent, but the pure-heartedness within him.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, and I think as she's recovering, because she's in a stasis in the back to tank on Vader's ship, like for a long time. Like her recovery period takes a long, almost to after Return of the Jedi, right? So, I think at that point she could be manipulated. Like who knows what Vader's doing to her at that point, and imprinting revenge and thoughts of just like going after Luke at all costs. I don't think just her experience and her time with Luke that is cause for vengeance. I think it's everything she experienced after there too.
I agree.
Yeah, I think she does genuinely like him, but not to the extent that she's not willing to kill him. Though.
Oh yeah, I'm saying.
I think she'd definitely still go through with it given the chance, but that's not to say that she wouldn't feel a little bit bad about it afterwards.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it's she. What's the? I just read Julius Caesar. What does Brutus say? He says it's not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more. So that her loyalty to her mission is more important than any feeling she may have gained toward Luke.
Well put. Well put.
Yeah. Instead of
you got
I
it.
really like that play, by the way. It was really good.
But moving on.
Yeah.
To
the rest of this issue is mostly battle.
I like this part. I have something to say about this part.
Okay,
So setting the stage for infiltrating Admiral Giles' fleet, they set up this little trap. They have a TIE fighter wreckage seemingly crashed, landed there, and they send out a distress signal to Admiral Giles' fleet, knowing that they'll send a squadron in trying to recover the pilot. And under a distress signal, they attack the TIE fighters. They leave one intact and just shoot him down to the point where he ejects out of his ship. And then Luke holds a gun to his head and says, if you don't contact or give me the coordinates for your fleet, I'll blow your head off, basically. That's definitely against the Geneva Conventions, I think, in Star Wars. You have perfidy, and then you have a POW undergoing abuse. I'm just saying. Luke had some reaction to the dark side, I think, at this point.
These issues are not really thinking about what is the actual way you would do things in war. It's just like what would be funny and cool. Which is
I do quite like David Michelinie's sense of humor. You're going to give us the thing. If you don't, you're going to notice a very large hole in your head. Care to talk?
And then it's Chewbacca that actually gets him to talk.
Oh yeah. So I don't like how, and you'll notice I don't like how the mask shifts. Do you notice that?
Yeah.
That's
The
a little
That
bit.
seems like a very
It's a little
droids
too
and
silly.
Ewoks thing to do.
Yeah, like
right.
he looks sad.
They're
That's like,
really going for humor here. It's off the charts, almost comedical. There,
The best you can say,
scary movie when it's like a joke, but this is
the best you can say is that Chewbacca is bending the helmet, but I think at that point he would just pop the guy's head.
No, yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
So, anyway,
that's how they get the recognition codes to sneak aboard the fleet. And then once they're in there, they start shooting some of the TIEs there and some of the other ships, and they don't really know, the Imperials don't really know what's going on, so they just start shooting at each other seemingly at random, and it's just a big crazy mess.
I think this is one of the better space battles we see in Marvel
comics. Yeah,
in Marvel, I think you could make an argument for a lot of the other comics too. This is a pretty good one. Yes, you get a little look at all the pilots. It's not perfect. You don't see the one guy die, I don't think, or at least you don't get a good sense of that.
No, well, yeah, I don't see him. I know one guy gets like his wing damaged, but he's still flying around there, and I think that's the guy that actually makes it back to base, Thorben. But we get to see this Imperial with a beard. That's kind of funny. But all these ships are drawn really well.
Oh yeah.
Another moment of Imperial idiocy. An attack always warrants a counterattack, bosun. Now carry out your orders.
That's a Marvel hand right there. That's how he's pointing. You see that a lot. Is like the fingers down and the thumb way out. That's something. Yeah, and the index finger, like, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, he just says, "Oh yeah, fire on the TIE fighters," and the gunners there are like, "Okay, dude, well, I guess we'll do it," but I don't think it's a very smart idea. And
firing on their own fleet.
They don't really know what's going on. So meanwhile, Luke flies in there. He uses all of his low energy lasers, and he finally has one shot left, and he's got to take out the Teasel on the Admiral Giles flagship. So he uses it.
No, not Alf.
Is Alf the guy's last name? Because like he's not.
Oh no.
Oh, it's the black dude, of course.
The black guy.
They're not beating any allegations at this point.
The modern trope, yeah. Well, he's got to be the first to die, like in every movie. But anyway,
that's 2 days from retirement.
That's always that too, you know. We get a little wormhole action here.
I don't know.
That's the Teasel.
Wait, it's you know, it looks a little wormholey.
It does.
That's the word.
Holy.
Anyway.
Diesel.
We gotta keep going. Anyway.
So Luke has like one shot left, and because the Teasel disrupts all communications throughout the fleet, including the channel that the rebels are communicating to each other and identifying themselves by, Luke's not really sure who's a friendly and who's not, so he uses the Force and he shoots the final laser beam, which it seems like it goes through Shira's tie and then strikes the flagship. That's the interpretation I got, because he's only got one shot left at that point. And it takes out the bridge. At least it looks like it in the drawing there. But Admiral Giles still alive, even though the bridge, like the top half of the ship, is completely blown off. So I don't know where his bridge is. Like maybe it's like some other part of the ship. Anyway, the Teasel gets destroyed because I guess it's being kept in the bridge of the ship and not the cargo hold.
Well, we see Luke firing on Shira's tie here, and then he says, "I've only got the ultra power blast left." So,
okay. So he takes out the TIE fighter that's in front of him and then shoots it. I missed that. Okay, that makes more sense. I feel better about that. But we get to see more explosions. The ship's disabled, or I guess it's destroyed. I mean, there's a little bit of it left. Admiral Giles survives, and he actually has to report this to Darth Vader, I think, in the next issue. He gets demoted to lieutenant, RIP. But he tries.
Got demoted, not killed.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a. I think he actually gets stationed on a planet where we see in a future issue, a couple issues later. But Luke escapes. He goes back into hyperspace. He's not really concerned with Shira at that point.
TIEs don't have hyperdrives.
No, they do not.
That's true. That's another problem.
Maybe they built hyperspace rings, like the prequels. Like I think there's an EJ. Is it EJ Henry? Anyway, he has like a 3D model of like a theoretical hyperspace ring for a TIE fighter. Maybe he's using one of those. Or
the only explanation I can come up with is at some point they added hyperdrive because they have to leave the rebel base, right? They have to leave Araba and go to wherever they're going, and seemingly that would be through hyperspace because they don't have like a capital ship to transport them.
Don't in one of the squadrons, maybe Wraith Squadron, don't they use modified TIE fighters, or were they using interceptors?
I know they capture TIE fighters because they're
Iron Fist, right?
They use the
it's the cover. Yeah.
Crawler, the Night Crawler, I think, the Corvette, and they have, I think there's 4 TIE fighters in the hangar bay, and when they report to Admiral Triggett or whatever, they have to have TIE fighters and not X-Wings in the hangar, so they have to find some. But yeah, it's kind of weird how that has hyperspace capability.
I like this. I like the shot of the volcano. That very much looks like the opening to every episode of Transformers. Da, 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 da. Anyway.
So Luke goes back to Araba. I find it very weird that he doesn't care who else survived from his squadron, especially Shira. But
well, says here, where is it?
They kind of like
Thorben.
bury the lead.
Yeah, he sees Thorben come back later, not with him, but he goes to the holo projector or whatever, and they review the footage of his mission, and they find out that he shot down Shira, and now he's a pariah. I think they go a little bit hard on him, considering he doesn't have communications capability. He just used the Force, and he is the pilot that took out the Death Star. That should grant him some protection, I think.
I'm trying to think, like, do we see a similar situation to this in one of the squadrons? I don't remember one, if there was.
Not this bad. Not this bad.
No, nowhere near this bad. But yeah, it's rough. It is a little bit odd to me how cagey they are about, like, saying, "Hey, Luke, you blew up your girlfriend."
Yeah,
and he completed the mission.
He completed the mission.
What do you want?
Did they think he knew that? Did I miss a piece of dialogue?
Well, when he goes throughout the Rebel base, people make accusations. It's in the next issue, but
yeah,
people make snide comments about him, like, "Oh, speaking of physical, Shira wasn't getting physical with you. That's why you got rid of her, huh, Luke?" That's
but like the moment the minute before they went out to go do the mission, she made out with him. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, they didn't see that. That was a private moment.
I guess that's true. As an aside, this is my favorite cover in the whole series.
That's pretty good
by far.
Yeah, the red works really well,
and I love the title on that: Luke Skywalker, Pariah.
Pariah, yeah.
A weirdly expensive issue. I went to buy this last time I was at the store, and it was like $20. And I'm like, oh god, that's a little bit steep for a random issue of the Marvel series.
It's one of the best ones.
It is one of the best ones.
That's why.
But yeah, Luke is beside himself. Like, he feels really, really bad about what he did. He could hardly believe it. He doesn't trust himself because he used the Force to make that decision, and now he kind of thinks, "Oh, was the Force all a big sham? Like, it was something made up? Is like Obi-Wan not really talking to me? Am I not really being guided by the Force?" So he doesn't really know what to think, and he's not being treated very well by his comrades. He goes to the mess hall and tries to order lunch or whatever, and they give him a hard time.
This is my favorite issue in the whole series. Not just the cover, but also the story in here. I love just the amount of shit he gets into with everyone. It's like he goes to Robert, get us to the mess hall. Take us to the mess hall here. Because that scene is like, it's so good. Here, keep going. One more.
We have hoojibs here. This is not sanitary. I'm just saying, you can't have hoojibs in the mess.
They probably give them a shower.
One of them's going in the soup. Okay.
No.
Oh, it's going. It's going.
No.
You know. I love it. I'll have a bantha steak, please. Sorry, no more bantha. Okay. How about what is that? Phalanges. Flank. Nope.
Balka greens?
Fresh out. I see. Like, and then we just see everybody's looking at him in that panel and the one below.
They say Mr. Skywalker, not Commander Skywalker or anything. They tell him to eat his lunch in his room, and one of them starts a fight with him.
He knocks out this balding guy.
It's Norman Osborn.
It is. It is.
It's Milo.
Oh my god!
Calls him your slime, and he just punches him out, knocks him down.
Luke learned something from Han, I guess.
Not doing any favors for his reputation, by the way.
No.
But man, Luke can handle himself in a fight. To think he got beat up by his friends and called wormy by his friends on Tatooine. Like,
to be fair, this guy could have been from Coruscant, like upper levels, never worked a day in his life. Meanwhile, farm boy Luke,
got to do. Also, this is after episode 5. Was that his normal hand, or was that his robot hand? Because that also makes a difference here.
that would be his robot hand, right? Because it was the right one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the explanation.
That's a little bit of cheating.
There you go. There you go. That's rough. That's nasty. There's no way they remembered that, by the way.
They didn't, but
There's
for sake of headcanon, he punched him with his robot hand.
I like the Hoojibs sitting on the tables, and
I don't.
It's
It's
going in
very
the soup.
unsanitary.
It's going in the soup. I don't want to see one of those when I'm eating, unless I'm eating. Okay.
They need to be like in a hamster cage or something more appropriate.
Be outside with the rest of the wilderness creatures. I don't want none of them. I don't like those chairs. Those look too much like bus stop chairs.
They do.
Like I'm really being really mean to my favorite issue of the series, but I just noticed that as he was scrolling by. I was like, that.
Oh man, what are these guys, mechanics? Like these uniforms are all different.
Yeah, I don't. Well, to be fair, the rebels. They're
just wearing whatever they got, right? I mean, how many of those like rebel pilot outfits did they actually have issued? Considering they're like terrorists.
They were all rebel pilots when Shira was getting her award.
That's
for
true.
medal.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's true. That's true. I tried to defend.
I guess we find out later. Where's Wedge? Why ain't he in here? Come on.
Yeah, he could help a brother out, right? Help.
He
Luke
really could.
And, yeah. Anyway.
And then they don't want to use him.
Apparently, this guy's name is Milo 4-star.
Milo 4-star.
Is he a 4-star general?
I don't like that. I also again, Milo's a regular name. You get like one of those per series. You have like one regular name guy.
They have all these named characters and no Edge Antilles, no Jansen. Come on.
Was
Jansen fair, we'll see.
Was Jansen a thing before?
Jansen was a thing. He was introduced in Empire.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah. We will see him not too far in the future.
Yeah,
he's
unfortunately. And the 77, that's not canon. It's like a backstory, a fairy tale, whatever. Anyway,
it's tale he's telling.
Luke goes back to his room, kicks his medal in his little treasure chest. Did anybody remember Lego Pirates? That's the kind of like treasure chest that Luke kicks
exactly
there.
like. And it looks like the little piece of gold that you remember you get the little things. Yeah, that looks exactly like it.
That's what I thought when I was reading this. Anyway, he finds his medal. He's like, "Oh man, it's starting to look tarnished." Anyway, we can move forward a little bit here.
So here's like a little bit of a nerd point, but I'm going to throw it out here. Why is he still wearing? I mean, I know why, because marketing. But why is he still wearing the heavy cold gear in what seems to be like a temperate climate?
I think that's just the way they draw pilot outfits. It's kind of a heavier version, but that's the default version that they know at this point.
Okay.
You can move forward a couple of pages here. So this is Luke basically thinking, "Oh, I'm not sure the Force is really a thing. Maybe I've been imagining this the whole time." Let's move forward a little bit.
Yeah, none of those were very good. Like,
yeah, get to see the hangar. That's a cool shot.
I like this scene with Lando.
Yeah, so Luke tries to ask Lando for the Falcon, and he says, "Well, I can't give you the Falcon and have everybody see me give it to you because you're sort of hated by everybody here, and they're going to hate me if I give you a ship to leave unauthorized." So he says, "I'm going to go wash my other cape here. I'll be back in 15 minutes." And basically lets Luke steal the ship.
Right. 15 minutes? 15 minutes it is.
So
good for you, Lando.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. And then some guy tries to pull a gun on Luke, doesn't let him leave, and Chewbacca just destroys the blaster, just breaks it like a baseball bat. It's pretty cool.
God, I love Chewbacca.
So
His face is a little weird, but
Chewbacca's coming along for the ride, and they're going to go searching for clues on what exactly is going on. They're going to go back to Shira's home planet.
I love that Chewbacca just picks Luke up and he's like, "Nope, I'm in charge of this mission now."
Yep.
I love him. Chewbacca might be the only intelligent character in the entire original trilogy. I hate to say it.
They should listen to him a lot more.
They never do.
Yeah, but he's a grangy old mutt.
So this kind of reminds me of Return of the Jedi hasn't happened yet, but the Ewok net. So they get to Shira Bree's planet and they throw what looks like an Ewok net. Luke gets out of it with his lightsaber, and they get chased into a cave where he meets this one individual nomad raider kind of by himself. He's a named character, but Gahinji, I don't know how you say it there, but he's like, don't hurt me. And he talks about the backstory of the planet. And Luke says, well, that's impossible, because the story that he's telling Luke is that the Empire came in and destroyed the nomad colony. There were never any humans there at all. And Luke starts to realize, well, Shira just made up this whole story. And then he thinks, well, maybe I should go back to that Stonehenge place, because there might be something significant about that. And Luke has to prove that the Force is with him, or the gods are on his side, or something that the Nomad says. He's able to guess which cup the ball's underneath there, or whatever, so that he proves he's Force sensitive. I didn't really get that part. I think it was kind of unnecessary, but that's to basically get the Nomads on Luke's side to realize he's not a threat to them.
Yeah. And I like the thing the chieftain says on the next page, which is like, oh, you got strong gods there, buddy. You got some pretty strong gods there. Yeah, I like that. That's
he looks like a Nitko or the Jabba's palace guard a little bit.
Yeah. Which this is still like a year or two before
Jedi. Yeah, it's almost like they had an early draft or had some knowledge of what was coming.
They might have saw maquettes or whatever, the little clay
right
thingies.
Blue Harvest or whatever it was.
Oh
yeah. And so we see he goes to Stonehenge. All the people follow him. There's a lizard there watching on. He decides to do basically the same thing that Shira did, cut his hand, and figures out there's a transmission, because Darth Vader appears to him. It's he's so many steps ahead. Darth Vader foresaw this whole scenario play out where Luke would be a pariah, like I said earlier, and has this whole transmission. I think it would be a lot better if this was a live transmission of Darth Vader. That would make more sense, but unfortunately it's just a recording. So we see the first part here, and then the rest of it in issue 63.
This is a cool page.
No, it's awesome.
It's pretty great.
We dare you not to buy the next issue.
We dare you not to buy the next issue.
Yeah, this is my favorite issue easy of the Marvel. It's got enough going on its own that it's satisfying, and it's part of a broader arc that I like, and it's got a great cover, and it's got a Darth Vader tease at the end, even though it's just a hologram. It's still nice. It's still nice to see.
I can't complain. It's been the most epic story we've seen so far by Marvel Star Wars. We've saw little hints of Vader going against Luke. Here we don't actually see Vader in person going against Luke, but I think it works just as well, because I don't necessarily like that Vader has this transmission pre-planned, but the fact that all of these clues like lead Luke through to knowing and retracing what Shira Bree did. The mystery unravels to the reader in a way that's very, very intriguing.
What do we think of it? What do we think about the cover?
That's a great cover. I don't know what I thought the last cover was, but it was not that. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that.
The last cover was the prior.
No. At the start of this, I was like, oh, all the covers are good except for the last one. No, that's not. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway,
this is a nice opening page.
Yeah.
The Mind Spider.
That title, that's fun.
Jim Shooter, Jedi Master.
Alex, you got a Mind Spider in there. You got to get it. You got to get it in there. Get rid of that.
Sorry.
Smush it.
I haven't vacuumed in my brain in a little bit.
Cobwebs, yeah. It's not good. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Vader has this transmission where I've foreseen, I've sent Sherbri out to kill you, but if she couldn't kill you, then the next best option was to discredit you. And we know you figured out this whole time. And then he actually knows Luke's next step is to go to the Imperial Records planet. And it's sort of this like cocoon thing where the Imperials keep personnel records on all of their agents, including Sherbri. Apparently, Luke just knows this. We've never seen this in any other EU, but that's his next spot where he goes to uncover his next clue.
I do like this. You're now an outcast, a pariah, untrusted, and quite possibly loathed by those you care about most. Thus, there is but one entity who will accept you, trust you, treat you as an equal. Luke, I've come for you, and now you must come to me.
That's awesome.
He says, "Oh, that's some nasty friend you have there."
Yeah, you don't say. Yeah, great opening.
That's
transmission just blows up.
Unique explosion sound.
Flam. Yeah. That sounds like the food Luke was trying to eat earlier.
Bantha steak or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so he goes to the communications plant to try and uncover more details on Sherbri, and then Admiral Guile tells.
I was going to say this in the previous issue. Walt Simonson can draw hands quite well. Yes. That's a good hand.
Yep.
That is, yeah. It looks like a hand for sure.
And that's a replacement hand too, so it's more anatomically correct than his original hand. And Admiral Guile reports of his failure. He gets demoted, and then another commander comes in and says they've received a transmission from Sherbri's homeworld, and then Vader knows that Luke's to go into the communication plant. What does it say? Crake's planet? It doesn't have a regular name. It's just Crake's planet, and it's this cocoon thing that's like suspended above a bunch of water. It's very hard to get to. Luke has to like tunnel in, and then finds there's like a mess hall. We've seen a mess hall 2 issues before, but there's an Imperial mess hall here that he kind of sneaks in and poisons the soup to get the commander to tell his details, to release the communication codes or whatever that he needs to hack into the system.
And this is why the issue is called the Mind Spider.
Yeah, looks like Geonosis a little bit. Different colors, but that kind of reminded me of the same.
It's got like there's a lot of spires, right? And that's like
Computer said the vault complex had been grown, that it had been extruded by slugs, like the one we saw in the tunnel, as a sort of crystal cocoon shaped by Imperial engineers using sonics to control the slugs' movements.
Gross.
Yeah. And there's a big force field around it, so they can't just fly in.
Right. It makes reference to all the security measures that are protecting this data center, and then it says, also it's kind of shaped like a creepy crawler or something. That's another reason you probably wouldn't want to infiltrate it.
We see this guy throwing out the soup.
The fish bones.
No Hoojibs present yet. Nobody's caught on to my culinary genius.
I don't know. I feel like the Empire would be a little bit more sophisticated than this. They're just throwing a pot of whatever that is out over the balcony.
How many whole fish do you put in soup? Have you ever seen anybody put a whole fish in a soup? I can't say I have.
I don't think so.
If we go to the next page, this is okay. This guy, he looks like he belongs on the Andy Griffith show. This book. For a second there, I thought he was sticking his whole hand in the soup, but no, he's opening it from a weird angle.
Okay, but is he more fitting to be in Star Wars or the whipping lady from the holiday special?
This guy looks like he belongs maybe in
That's the real
Popeye or
question.
something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he looks like he belongs in a show, like he's from MASH, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I do like getting a brief Leia and Sif moment here.
No, that was a cute little moment.
Yeah, he says, Leia says, if we don't recover Luke, well, the Alliance is doomed. So Leia's just stressing this whole 4-issue arc about something.
I love that Leia is like having a crisis, and Pilf is just sitting on the computer, just warming up, being like, "Yeah, this sounds like a you problem, Leia." That's my kind of guy.
Says,
Baker would probably be doing the same thing later.
I love the panel on the next page where Luke's pointing the gun at what would this guy? Is this guy a lieutenant?
Yeah,
like
this guy goes, not bad. Using a different stock these days. And Luke goes, it's the seasoning.
No, that's awesome. That's so sick.
Yeah, he says,
like it's so cheesy, but it's so awesome still.
I need the transmission codes to hack into the computer. And he says, no, I won't give them to you. He says, well, I just poisoned your soup and I won't give you the antidote unless you do it. So he says, okay, take me over there. And turns out it wasn't poison. Luke just put soap flakes in there and he thought he was dying.
I love that. It's so funny.
So
I like the fact that
this is a really clever
issue.
Yeah, that's a very clever issue. You have to be clever when you want to be actually funny.
Oh yeah.
Other issues try to be funny. It's like,
there's if anybody remembers the Thomas Jane Punisher, there's a scene in that where he's got the guy strung up and he's like, and he takes out a blowtorch and he's like, after a certain point, once you get hit with the flame, it feels cold and not hot, and he's trying to get information from the guy, and there's a shot where he's just sticking him with a popsicle to get him to talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious.
That comes from a Chuck Dixon issue of Punisher from the 90s, which I love. This is another thing like that, where it's a little bit of clever thinking and not just for Punisher normally he would just blowtorch the guy, which I don't know.
Yeah, just kind of Punisher's MO. I'm excited to see him argue with Spider-Man in the movie.
That is going to be fun. I love that Chewbacca just keeps the guy in a headlock the whole time.
Yeah, it's great.
The poor
I like that Luke goes, okay, I'm not going to go for the central computer because Vader will be expecting that. Instead, I'm going to access the information I need from this terminal in the kitchen.
Right. Why there's a computer terminal in the kitchen, who knows? The guy spills his soup too, all over the table. Yeah. I missed that the first time I read it.
Just a mess. We finally get Shibra's real backstory.
Yeah, we get the whole spiel about how she was raised on the Imperial capital. Doesn't say Coruscant, but it's she was in the Imperial Special Forces. There's a lot of people in her sort of like training, and Vader took special interest in her and trained her, I guess, in the way of the dark side, but it doesn't say that here. Promoted her to be a personal agent to infiltrate the Alliance and make a credible backstory based on her lies about her home planet and how there was like a human colony that was killed there. But
this is another instance where I'm like, I know that Sidious, I know like the Emperor's not really like a thing in these early comics, but he definitely knew because he knows everything. But I think it's really interesting if you take all the EU, Dooku had Ventress, which totally goes against Rule 2. But then again, Palpatine never cared about the Rule 2. He only cared about himself. But if you take in Force Unleashed, we have another instance of Vader with someone force sensitive that he's trying to raise up, and then you have this instance here with Shiver Bree. So I just think it's happened quite a few times, and I just like that. This would have been the first time this has happened, but I think it's interesting that that's something that was allowed to happen.
Right, and especially after the Emperor took Mara Jade as his hand, Vader similarly, like after Starkiller didn't work out, well, I gotta try again and get somebody similar to work for me.
Raised in Palace of Emperor Palpatine. That's interesting.
Oh, we get an Emperor Palpatine reference. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess so. He would have had to have known.
Yes.
Well, that they had personal training, but
yeah,
not necessarily that she was Darth Vader's like personal agent at that point.
That's fair.
A lot of people wearing no shirt. Not sure why.
It was the style at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get this whole backstory for Shiver Bree, and we get the review.
Gains expert rating in all known forms of combat. Biologically altered to reject pain and to accelerate physical healing process.
Which makes sense. That's how she's able to survive a fighter crash in deep space.
Timeline wise, I mean, because Shiver Bree's around Luke's age, I imagine.
Yeah.
So right now, Vader has Shiver Bree. Palpatine has Mara Jade at the same time, also going through similar training right now. So.
Also similar, a year younger than Luke, roughly.
And also infiltrating the rebels. I think in the Emperor's Hand comic, we see her on the bridge of a Mon Calamari cruiser in one of those stories where she had past missions. So theoretically, she's infiltrated the rebels before. But Luke's in a bit of a predicament because the stormtroopers are alerted. He and Chewbacca are able to fight through. We get some more comedic moments between stormtroopers there. Turk is one of the stormtroopers. Luke uppercuts him and then throws him in the path of oncoming blasters. And they just say, "Oh, wait a minute, he's sorry, Turk."
Using a stormtrooper as a human shield.
Yeah, but these stormtroopers are the most incompetent I've ever seen. Like,
that's the most.
I do like that they. Luke. I do like that they feel bad about killing their own guy.
Sorry, Turk.
No, kind of. We had that blonde girl before.
Yeah, I would say the blonde woman would probably be the first, but like none of us even remember what her name was.
Yeah.
Tanith Shire. Okay.
If we're not counting Leia.
we're definitely not counting Leia, but also Tanith Shire was not around for very long. She was around for like the equivalent of like 2 issues.
It's more of a flash.
Luke had a couple quick flames in previous comics, but not
this
much.
Has been the most serious to this point, I think.
Yeah.
And this
I like these 2 panels. These are quite nice.
Anyway, we get a little nice little fight scene, couple,
sure.
And then the big thing. We see the executor.
Luke's in a predicament because there's a shield that's encompassing this communication station, and he can't get off in the Falcon. So he tries to use a rope to like get down to the Falcon. Chewbacca's still up there, and Chewbacca's actually trying to get the tape that proves Shira's backstory of her being an Imperial agent. But the problem Luke's in is he has to find a way to take down the shield so he can fly out in the Falcon. So he uses the Force to tap into this blue-haired Imperial woman who looks very similar to a past issue with Valence. I'm pretty sure we've seen her before. Someone very similar, where Luke uses an Imperial disguise and kind of like goes into her unit or her battalion there. Anyway, he uses the Force to convince her to take down the shield, and they retrieve Chewbacca and escape with the plans. And then we see the big reveal.
Do you think her hair is literally meant to be blue, or is this?
No, it's a shading thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. This is an old comic. They can't actually show proper black hair.
Anyway,
same way that
still very similarly drawn to the Valence arc.
She looks like Indira Varma from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. The character, character that she plays in that show, whose name I don't remember. I just remember the actress's name. So we get Chewbacca. Chewbacca is the only one who's actually like, let's finish the plan we started. Let's actually accomplish the goal we set out to do, which is prove your innocence, which, might help. But he gets back in the ship, and our two heroes are off.
Right.
And
there's a big reveal that Sherbri survived at the end. This is the epilogue.
This is the thing that we care most about from this last part of this issue. Seeing them, they escape. Oh, it's very nice. It's cute. But the big thing is that last page where we see Shia Bree not doing too good, but she is alive. Honestly, she's actually doing way better than you would expect from somebody who got blown up. She has her face intact, which I don't even think is true as of the later issues.
Back to works wonders.
Oh yeah.
But that's it.
That's it.
That's the story. And then Luke goes back in the next issue. We'll see. He clears his name. I think there's one kind of side unrelated issue to this arc in 64, but we'll cover that another time. Alex, I think we have scheduled another episode possibly tomorrow, including the LA Times, the next two LA Times issues. If Alex is here, I think he's muted, but
sorry, I'm looking for the blonde chick. I've been struggling.
You're good.
Tanith Shire. Luke's
is that her? Is that the blonde one?
Yeah, that's her name. Yeah.
All right, that's what I was. That's all I was looking. Okay. All right, we're good. He found it.
Yeah. So what do we think? I think we pretty much laid it out. What do we think of this?
A+.
A+. I would agree with that. Alex, what do you think?
I think so as well. I think it's the best thing. These four issues are the best thing that Marvel has done yet.
You want to hear? Here's my hot take from earlier. I put the pin in. We put that pin in. We're taking it out now.
Okay.
I like this better than the Lumaya stuff later. I prefer the Tanith.
I think structurally, I agree.
The Shia Bree stuff is more interesting than when she comes back as Lumaya in the Marvel comics. In the Marvel comics.
I agree, but I would say spectacle-wise and in terms of, I don't know, I wouldn't say it feels too Star Wars-esque. I think it feels more like it's borrowing from other tropes and putting it into Star Wars, but it works well in Star Wars. I feel like Lumaya as the cyborg is more in line with what I would expect from Star Wars, I guess.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
And I have to say, those later panels where we have the light whip and the fights, I think that's some of the best art that the Marvel comics ever have, apart from this, where it looks, I guess, more realistic, even though they try to be like cartoony in these like 4 issues. But something about the cartooniness of those later issues, I think, really works and benefit. It gives it a style that, like, when I see those issues specifically, it's like, oh, that's these comics. I can't mistake them for anything else. I mean, I guess not these either, because it's a very 70s look, but it looks a lot like other comics that aren't Star Wars, I guess. And I think those later issues look very distinct to themselves.
I think the artwork in these issues holds up just as well as anything throughout the 90s. Anything from like the Shadows of the Empire comic adaptation or anything like that. This story is just like so impactful. I don't think it was even reprinted in all of the Star Wars a long time ago reprints. I know Pariah was, but I don't think like all of this arc was included, but it should have been, because nothing has captured my attention so far in any comics, like including the Marvel 1977 run. This has been like the most impactful EU story I think we've covered on this podcast. So
I agree.
I would agree so
I,
far.
I don't think anything later with Lumaya surpasses it in the comics. I do think there are good moments later on, but they never hold a candle writing wise.
In terms of a story, I think this is a better story than anything they come up with her
Absolutely
later. But in terms of like what I would want to see from the character, obviously Lumaya is a lot more interesting because now she has this backstory on top of she's a cyborg, she's got the light whip, and she's got a cool design. And then later on, we get into all kinds of crazy shit later on. But that's way later. We don't got to worry about that yet.
Yeah, she's more the typical villain later on. I mean, we'll review those issues when we get to it. But this is just flawless. If I have one criticism, it's like I said before, they sort of forget the Han Solo recovery mission, which I think they should be focused on. It's okay. I would actually forgive it if it was just this issue where they have kind of a side thing with Shira Bree and her home planet. But we see it time and time again. I mean, they went after the Tarkin super weapon. There's this whole thing to come on Mandalore. There's all this stuff before they get to the bounty hunters and like the chase of where the Slave One has gone. They've gone in like every other direction, and there's just so many other adventures. It's not really believable that all that stuff happened in this short a time period where they were just ignoring Han.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I think there's a couple of moments where the silliness is maybe like a touch too much, like the stormtrooper facial thing. But I think that's a very minor criticism. I'm not gonna die on that hill.
Done for comedic effect.
It was done for comedic effect, and I can get over it.
I think another thing that shows that this is probably the best thing from Marvel is I went on the whole spiel about missed opportunities, because there's so much that works here that could have been expounded upon to be something truly, I think, just perfect, like no flaw.
If this was from the 2000s, like this would have been 50 issues. They would have milked this forever. We would hate this by the end because there'd be so much of it.
It's a good thing it was actually written this early, probably.
Probably.
They don't waste any time, like they would have drawn out that reveal of Shia Bree for like 12 issues. We would have seen Luke goes from like 12 different planets.
I think it benefits by being this short. It's just also of the thing of like I wish there was more moments between her and Luke and Leia. I wish there was a friendship before the betrayal.
Because I think what we got was all right with it. Just what we got.
It was all right. We had a few issues with fire.
Think about if like she was around for like 6 issues beforehand, and like the last issue before she gets blown up is like her and Luke like on a date or whatever, and it's like cute, and then you get the reveal. Boom. Like that's what we got basically, but like really lean into it, really to be like, oh, Luke and this girl are getting serious, and then.
I like the hints that we got in the previous couple issues with Lando on Cloud City, where they actually come to rescue Lando. Like, I thought that was cool. That was a way to integrate what they had coming up. I thought the Lando issues were pretty good in and of themselves. So, this is even better. And there's a couple more good issues, maybe not quite as good as this, before we get up to Return of the Jedi as well, like the Mandalore arc and such. So.
We're in a good spot with the Marvel comics now. Like, there's going to be a time when it gets real bad, when we have to deal with that fish guy, and I'm not looking forward to that, which is the worst era of Star Wars ever. That every issue have fish guys in.
Yeah, the fish guy.
I'm gonna tear him apart every single time I have to see his face.
You're just racist to fish. It's okay.
This guy sucks. Okay, all right. I don't even think he's in more than 2 issues, to be honest. But they're really bad issues. It feels like he's in 40.
But we get Danny, the Zeltron.
I like Danny. I like Danny.
Wow.
Danny's fun. Danny's another one that really pushes. She really pushes Leia's buttons, even more so than Shia Bree, which is funny.
She's not better than the Zeltron from Legacy, but It's a different story. It's a story.
Robert, what do you
I
think
disagree. I disagree, Alex.
Well, you're wrong.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll disagree when
Did
we
I
get
tell
to
you
it.
guys? I didn't get the. I forgot to get the Legacy Omnibus. It's already out of print.
Dang.
I'm kicking myself. I'm gonna throw up anyway.
Also,
You got to
Webslinger
keep this stuff in
asks,
print longer.
do you recommend the Star Wars classics? I mean, you can go watch all of our things on it, but I think I'll let everyone else talk.
I have a take for this. So they just put out a hardcover of the newspaper strips. If you can get that for under $50, I think that's fair. If you can find one of these for like $10 to $15, that's not bad. If you pay full price for any of these, you are going to be disappointed. If you pay like 30% of the cover price, you will go, oh, that's not bad. Because that's basically what I did. I think I got this for $15 3 or 4 years ago. And I read it and I went, it's okay. If I paid, what is this? $40 for this, I'd be livid. To this day, I would be livid. Anyway,
so my opinion on classic Star Wars, there's a couple arcs that are essential. The Black Hole Lord Coronel arc, where they go to Voicegoid 5 or whatever that gambling planet is. I don't think that arc's very good, but I think it's kind of essential for the EU, especially if you read Luke Skywalker and Shadows of Mindor. You need that backstory. And then when you get Admiral Griff and the whole attack on the rebel base at Yavin, I think classic Star Wars arguably approaches that plot point like from the best angle of including General Dodonna and how he gets captured. I really like that angle. And then later on where Luke Skywalker discovers Hoth is a suitable base, I think that's also essential. Maybe some stuff with the Ord Mantell bounty hunter as well. But those arcs are essential. The rest of them, I think you can forget and skip.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
Robert,
what are your thoughts on this as well? Because I don't think we got to you.
Yes, on the issues we actually covered.
I like these issues. I think I differ on so we'll talk about this more when we finish David Michelini's run, but overall I like his run, but I prefer Joe Duffy's run overall. It gets silly sometimes, but it also gets really dark sometimes.
It does. And that guy wore one.
And I also am not really much for this style of writing. It's much easier for me than the earlier stuff, the first 50-ish issues. But I think as an issue, I don't know what else you'd judge it. That's a
as an arc.
I don't know what I'm saying here, but maybe I'll feel differently once we actually get there. But I think as an issue, I prefer the one that we'll get much later, where she and Luke fight, and we learn that Lumia is Shira Bree, and
that's a big reveal.
I think I agree with you there. I think there's a lot more. I think the writing's better here, but I think there's more consistency with Joe Duffy. and it may not be the strongest writing, but it's always fun. I always feel like it may be silly, but unlike the previous issues of Marvel that we got early on, there's this consistency of like it's silly, but it's written well and it's on purpose. It's not we're not laughing at it, we're laughing with it.
That's
and I
true.
think that's the difference. So
Luke Skywalker Pariah, that's Al's favorite issue. My favorite issue would either be that one, that is, the one where Luke fights Lumia, would either be that one or probably Ellie, actually.
Ellie's a good one. Ellie is a good
I
one.
really
that
like the ending
eventually.
of that issue.
That was one thing I totally forgot to mention is the rebel pilots, the 2 rebel pilots that have the Death Star plans that they're trying to track down, and that arc goes for several issues. That is really intriguing as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think
I like that when they finally find him, he's suffered a fate worse than death, and it's good stuff. But anyway, that's not what this stream is about.
Yeah.
As for these issues, yes, I like these issues. Again, I wish we'd learned more about the Teasel. I wish later EU authors had done more with the Teasel. I don't think they have. I could be wrong.
I don't think so.
But the Crake's Planet, the spider-shaped data vault, yes, I like that.
Yep.
And yes, I agree. The scene with all the scenes at the beginning of the issue where Luke has suddenly found himself in this situation where he's not very well liked by everyone else in the Alliance, and Leia's having to sort of distance herself from him because and he punches Milo 4-star.
Knocks him out cold.
Punches him with the cybernetic hand.
Oh, brutal.
Dirty.
Yeah, that's
Vader
good
moment.
stuff.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pick a favorite issue. These all sort of like run together. I mean, there's obviously a best cover. I think it is the Pariah one, but
That's really
holy cow! Like all of these, I think are A+. Best point in the Marvel 1977 run.
Yeah, if you're gonna read anything of the Marvel run, it's this and probably the stuff with Joe Duffy that she does later with the same character. I mean, that's probably the only essential part of these. Truly, there's other stuff that matters.
I think this is definitely the best part of David Michelinie's run.
Oh yeah, it's interesting to see the Mandalorian stuff, but I don't care about Mandalorians generally. So like to me, it's just like, oh, that's neat. I think this is the best. This and then the later stuff, a little bit post Return of the Jedi, like immediately post Return of the Jedi, that stuff's pretty good. And then the stuff with Mr. Fish is unspeakable.
There's one called School Spirit.
Are you talking about
like issue
is it worse
92?
than all the stuff we've gone before with the previous like 30 issues?
It's a billion times worse.
We'll get to it. Save your hate.
Oh my god, I can't wait. I can't wait. Wait, Robert, you remembered his name. What did you say his name was?
Are you talking about Kiro?
Cairo? That was Cairo.
I think that's his name.
Yeah, that's his name. That's right.
Is this it?
Funny thing about Star Wars is you can never remember the names of
They're
characters
all
or planets it's until somebody says it out loud.
Yes.
Then it's like, oh yes.
It is him, by the way. Him and his stupid fishbowl fucking head. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun.
I don't hate Kiro. I think he's fine.
No, you should hate him. You should hate him. You should hate his
Where's
whole
a
family.
fishbowl? Does
Okay,
Admiral
guys,
Akbar wear a fishbowl?
He doesn't.
July 5th, we're going to have a political debate on if this character is unsalvageable or not. Al's going to be in the position that he should die in a hole, and we'll see where Scott lands after he
Good. They should do it again. Just teach him a lesson for sucking so much ass. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are at 1:08
2
a.m.
hours.
And Robert is at, I don't even want to guess, 6 probably at this point.
6 a.m. Yeah.
Yes, 6:08 a.m.
Okay.
Well,
we have
let's
another
call it
issue.
Rise and shine
do?
for him, and good night for us.
No, we don't. We did all the issues.
Yeah, well, we have
Well, we got
another
more stuff
episode tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
stay tuned for that. We're gonna go back to I got to pull it up here.
Around
so
2 to 3
it.
specific Pacific Standard
We're
Time.
gonna cover the Flight of the Falcon, The Empire Strikes Back Monthly 157, and Blind Fury Star Wars Monthly 159, and possibly Power Gem and Ice World from the LA Times comic strips. If we can get there, I got to read them myself. So we're going to wrap it up. We'll see you guys later.
In August, we're going to go out of order so we can take a break from comics because it's been comics for like months now. We're going to do the Lando trilogy, which is not publication-wise next. It's in the like late 80s.
We're jumping ahead slightly, but
just so we can get some novels in between. That'll probably be August and a little bit of September because I usually only do 2 streams a month. I might do more. We'll see. I don't know.
if we can
we're
manage
the
to get
final
3
Lando
in
one.
1 month, that would be good. But we'll see when we get there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's all. Thank you all so much for watching. And next time we'll see if fish racism lives long and proud. But you'll have to come back to find out. Till then, live long and prosper. Thank you, Al, for remembering my end.
Happy 4th of
Bye,
July.
everyone.
See you guys later.